Hello and welcome to the Audio Dad Chronicles. I'm Shale, and today we're continuing our journey into the music of NF with How Could You Leave Us? So we're continuing our journey into the music of NF featuring Tommee Profitt, and I was warned in advance that this one, How Could You Leave Us, is a bit of a soul crusher. And I even remarked to my friend who told me that, what are you talking about? Because his music that I've heard up to this point has been a little bit soul-crushing. And then I was warned, no. This is far worse. And having learned a little bit more about his backstory, I've come to learn that he lost his mother to drug addiction in 2019. And I fear this might be related to that. This may be him dealing with that. And if that's the case, then this will definitely break me. Without getting too much into my own personal life, I have lost my mother as well, although in my case it was to cancer, lung cancer, a lifetime smoker. It wasn't due to drug addiction, but I have lost friends and I have lost some really close people to me due to drugs. So this is definitely going to touch a part of my soul that I don't know if I'm ready to touch, but we're going to do it anyways. So let's get into it. NF, Tommee Profitt, How Could You Leave Us? Somber right at the start.
How could you leave so unexpected? We waited for you, but you just left us. We needed you, I needed you.
It's a real pain.
Yo, I don't know what it's like to be addicted to pills, but I do know what it's like to be a witness to kills. Mama told me she loved me, I'm thinking this isn't real. I think of you when I get a whiff of that cigarette smell, yeah. Welcome to the bottom of hell. They say pain is a prison, let me out of my cell. You say you proud of me, but you don't know me that well. Sit in my room, tears running down my face, and I yell into my pillowcases. Say you coming to get us, then call a minute later just to tell us you're not. I'm humiliated. I'm in a room with the parent that I don't barely know. Some lady in the corner watching us while she's taking notes. I don't get it, mom. Don't you wanna watch your babies grow? I guess pills are more important. All you have to say is no, but you won't do it, will you? You gon' keep popping till them pills kill you. I know you're gone, but I can still feel you.
Yeah, this is gonna hit. There's the goosebumps. Yeah, I feel this. I may not have lost my mother to the same reasons that he did, but the pain of loss, the pain and the frustration, and knowing that they are going down this path is very real. In my case, my mother was a smoker. We told her, all of our family, her doctor, everybody told her, stop smoking, it'll kill you, it'll kill you. And to her, the smell of that cigarette, the satisfaction that it gave her, that to her mattered more. And she used to say, you know, it'll take years off your life. Well, they're the ones at the end, and I don't want to live them anyway. It hurts. So this, despite the story not originating in the same way, I definitely feel this kind of a pain. And yes, this is going to hurt. Sometimes you need that pain, though. Let's let it go.
You gon' keep popping till them pills kill you. I know you're gone, but I can still feel you. Why would you leave us? Why would you leave us? How could you leave us? How could you leave us? Why would you leave us? I got this picture in my room and it kills me, but I don't need a picture of my mom, I need the real thing. Now a relationship is something we won't ever have, but why do I feel like I lost something that I never had? You should have been there when I graduated, told me you love me and congratulations. Instead you left us at the window waiting. Where you at, mom? We're too young to understand. Where you at, huh? Yeah, I know them drugs that got you held captive. I can see it in your eyes, they got your mind captured. Some say it's fun to get the high, but I am not laughing. And what you don't realize and what
that crying in that background, it just, you feel that heartbreak. It's very honest and very true. In a sense, to me, at that moment, it was very reminiscent of complete 180 musically speaking, but the band Korn. On their first album, the closing track on it is called Daddy, and it deals with Jonathan Davis's abuse, being abused as a young child while his parents and dad did nothing about it. And the song concludes at the very end with just Jonathan Davis in the studio breaking down and sobbing, and it became this big therapy session where he just let it all out. And it was really impactful then. It's really impactful every time when you hear it. And seeing the visuals in this video, knowing the backstory of the song, following along with the lyrics on the side, and then suddenly out of the blue in your ear, you hear this sobbing, and it's like, oh, this is just going to continue to break me, isn't it?
Why would you leave us? How could you leave us? How could you leave us? Why would you leave us? Our last conversation, you and I sat in the living room, talking about my music, and I brought you something to listen to. You started crying, telling me this isn't you. A couple weeks later, guess you were singing a different tune. You took them pills for the last time, didn't you? They took you from us once, I guess they came back to finish you. Crying my eyes out in the studio is difficult. Music is the only place that I can go to speak to you. It took everything inside of me not to scream at your funeral. Sitting in my chair, that person talking was pitiful. I wish you were here, mama, but every time I picture you, all I feel is pain. I hate the way I remember you. They found you on the floor. I could tell you felt hollow. Gave everything you had plus your life to them pill bottles. You gave everything you had plus your life to them pill bottles. Don't know if you hear me or not, but if you're still watching, why? Why would you leave us? Why would you leave us? How could you leave us?
Addiction is real, and it affects people in different ways. Different addictions affect people in different ways. It can be something like drugs and pills that takes your mother from you. It could be smoking, even just a cumulative life of living and having a habit that is harmful, but you just don't care. Another memory touched on by some of these lyrics. I won't back up so far to find exactly what it triggered that memory within me. But myself, I smoke weed. I'm just going to say it outright, but that's pretty much the only drug I do at this point in my life. I don't drink. I am sober. And a lot of it came from the life lessons along the way. Losing parent to smoking made me, that her health struggles, living on an oxygen tank for many, many years, things like that were deterrents for me to never go down that path. Growing up in my household, my parents separated when I was about 9 years old, and one of my earliest memories back then, when my parents were still together, my dad would come home from work, have a hard day, and we were always told as kids to lift the Coke can. That was one of the earliest memories I have of my dad. Sorry, Dad, he's still around. We get, we still have a relationship, but that was definitely one of those memories. He wasn't an alcoholic per se. I'm not passing judgment in that regard. It was just more that connection to it. And he would come home from work and had a hard day, and he just wanted to have a drink. And he would pour his favorite drink, and he would have a single can of Coke. Again, not an alcoholic per se, but he would have a drink every day. And the way that me and my sister knew if it was safe to talk to Dad is we would lift the Coke can. He would have 3 drinks from 1 can of Coke, and we would lift it. And how heavy it was determined how far away we had to stay.
How could you leave us? Why would you leave us?
I feel that.
Sometimes I think about things like, when I have kids.
Sorry to interrupt it again. Just that every time they show in there, that just kills me. I wasn't there on set. I know that, making music videos, it is acting, I don't want to call it Hollywood, but it is a production. It is a set, but sometimes you just see it. And to me, I feel like at that moment when they were filming him, it's almost like he turned around. He pulled in some memories of his life and the hurt and the pain that led him to create this song. Roll camera. And he turned around. That pain looked real. The redness in his eyes, the way the tears were streaming down, that didn't look like somebody in special effects putting a little bit of water on his face or saline. That looked like it was genuine pain. Oof. Thanks for sharing your pain with us, NF. It hurts, but it heals too.
Sometimes I think about things like, when I have kids and you won't be there, You won't be there for any of that. I'll never get to see you again. Sometimes I wish I would have just called you. I wish I would have just picked up the phone. But you were here. I mean, you should have been there for us. You should have been here. Pills got you, right? And pills got you, right?
I can't imagine.
I wish you were here.
I was fortunate enough to see my mother the day before she died. She passed away in her living room in a hospital bed. It was hard. She was in the hospital. We knew it was the end. Her doctor said to her in the hospital, sorry, I can do this, that it's close enough to the end that we're going to send you home so you can be with your family. And they did. And they brought her home, and she was in her living room, and we got to visit her. And then the next morning, she was gone. It was pretty quick once she was at the end. Love her to death. Hate the fact that her final prophetic words about why she smoked became true. I don't want to live the years at the end. I'm stuck to an oxygen tank, stuck in a bed, and I can't enjoy life. Who wants to live that? Well, she did for a little bit, and then she was gone. And I guess NF's mother is gone too. And now we both have to live with that kind of a pain. Thanks for coming along for the ride on this one. I hope to see you all again.